Alright, so continuing on, now we're on page 4, if you will. We've just flipped it over from the Law of Sines page, and now we're looking at Law of Cosines. And they tell us they want us to use Law of Cosines. On the test, another indicator that you use Law of Cosines is this formula, because I'm going to give it to you. So that formula is given. As soon as you see it, you know that it's Law of Cosines. We just want to remember that we're going to round lengths to the nearest tenth. Lengths to the nearest tenth. So Law of Cosines is also going to deal with this idea of pairs of opposites. This idea that there's an angle that goes with the side that is opposite the angle. So if we look at number 18, right, they're asking us to find YZ. So this over here, that's my variable. That's my my side x, if you will, the length x. And I see that this angle is across from or opposite that side. So that's a pair of opposites right there. Now that's important because when we look at our formula, remember I'm going to give this to you, right? We notice that the side A and the angle A are on the outside. And that's because our pair of opposites is just going to go on the outside. So if we have one angle and the side across from it, then we can write this formula just filling it in with the other two sides. And so our pair of opposites is going to go on the outside. So once we do that, that's really all the geometry we have to do. After that, it's just solving, which can get a little tedious, but we're going to work through it. So the side is x squared, and we know that at the end of that long thing, we're going to have cosine of the angle that goes with it. So here's the pair of opposites. The side is x squared. The angle is 52. And again, just to show you with color, there's the pair of opposites right there. Now we just fill in the rest with those two sides that aren't the x. So we have 4 squared plus 7.6 squared minus 2 times 4 times 7.6 times the cosine of 52. And again, that's all the geometry we're actually going to do. The rest is just algebra. So this is just x squared equals 16, 7.6 squared, I don't know off the top of my head. But if I use my calculator, I know it's 57.76. Well, 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 times 7.6 is 60.8 cosine of 52. Well, x squared then equals, and I'm just combining these, by the way, 16 plus 57.76, that's 73.76. minus 60.8 cosine of 52. Well then, to get x alone, I just square root this. Now remember, I can't combine these. And the reason I can't is because this 60.8 has this cosine of 52 tacked on. But this 73.76, well, it doesn't have a cosine of 52. It doesn't have it. So we can't combine them. But we can square root this whole thing, and we can do it just by typing it into our calculator exactly how we see it. So if that's what we've got on our paper, we just do second square root of 73.76 minus 60.8 cosine of 52. Just like that. Just like we wrote it on our paper. I'll zoom in a little bit just so you can see it. So exactly how we have it on our paper, that's what we type into our calculator. Press enter, and after we round for the nearest tenth, we get 6.0. 6.0, and we are measuring in feet. So let's look at 19. Again, 19, we realize, oh, I have ASA, or I'm sorry, I have SAS. SAS, and I remember, oh, that's one of the times when I'm going to use Law of Cosines. right? They want us to find BD. They want us to find BD. So there's our pair of opposites, right? That means that we know when we set up our equation, our law of cosines formula, that the side squared is going to go on the outside. Then we're going to have a bunch of stuff in the middle. And at the end, it's going to be the cosine of 87 because that's the angle it goes with. So now we just fill in the middle with the other two sides. 3 squared plus 2.3 squared minus 2 times 3 times 2.3 times the cosine of 87. So once we have that, again, it's not too much more geometry. We're just solving for x. So 2.3 squared is 5.29. And then 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 2.3 is 13.8 cosine of 87. Right, well, I'm just going to combine these. X squared equals 14.29 minus 13.8 cosine of 87. And again, I can't combine these because this one has a cosine of 87, this one doesn't. But I can square root it and then plug it into the calculator. So exactly how we see it, that's how we want to do it. So square root of 14.29 minus 13.8 cosine of 87. And after we round to the nearest tenth, it'll be 3.7 centimeters, that is. So let's do one more just for good measure again. So here's number 20. And they want EF, which is this side over here. EF. And again, here's our pair of opposites. Right? Here's our pair of opposites. So our side, X, is going to be here on the outside. X equals blah, 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 all that good stuff. And at the end, it's going to be the cosine of its angle, which is 112. So again, our pair of opposites are just going on the outside. Now we just fill in with all the other stuff, the other sides that we have. Minus 2 times 5.8 times 6.3 cosine of 112. Well, 5.8 squared is 33.64. 6.3 squared, 39.69. And 2 times 5.8 times 6.3, that's 73.08 cosine of 112. So now I'm just going to combine these right here. X squared equals 33.64 plus 39.69, 73.33 minus 73.08 cosine of 112, and square root, then just plug into the calculator. So we're doing the square root of 73.33 minus 73.08 cosine of 112. We round to the nearest tenth, it's 10.0 miles.